Hello, everyone, and welcome to Male Matrix, the redefining of a male. I'm so glad you joined us, and I hope you reviewed last topics of the male who had the situation with his family unit and his perspective. And he took a lot of effort to make sure that his family unit works. And that's what we're trying to do to help families work together and make relationships, especially with the children, work. Because what is going on today is we see a lot of strange happenings in the family unit, but it starts with the mother and the father working together to present a good relationship with each other before the children, and then they have strong, healthy adults as those children grow up. And today we're looking at it from a different perspective. You know, I told you, ladies, where you're not going to be left out. I know it's called Male Matrix, but women, you are very important too. And I like to hear from you. And we're working to get a good concrete set of individuals that can take your calls, that can hear from you, that can call you back and address certain interests and problems that you may have in connecting and making things work in your family and in your life in general. Some of you, you may say, I'm alone. I don't have a family. It's just me trying to make it. But we're also working with you too. We're not leaving you out. We want everybody to be a part of making this thing called family, making this thing called community work. And it starts with just one person at a time. And if you call in, even if you call in now, we have someone that can address your issues and help you. And if it's something we aren't able to do, we can direct you into the right direction. And today we have a female, a lady here today to talk about how it's working in her family and what it could be to make it work better for her family, or what it would take, rather, to make it work better for her family. And to let us know that women need to have a voice, and she has a voice, and she wants to discuss. And men listen to it. It's a lot of men out there that you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're going over and beyond your call of duty, and we applaud every effort and everything that you're doing. And we need you. Even need you to call in, because we need mentors to help with young men, mentors even to help with young women to do everything that they can do to assist in helping some of these families that don't have a father figure, that don't have a mother figure. So if you can call in and show how you can, or let me know how you can help with making the family unit work. And we're happy and excited today to have Andrea Brooks with us. Thank you for coming, and I'm thanking you for joining us on the show. I am so excited that you said yes and agreed to share your situation and your story with us. Just tell us how's everything going with you? I hadn't talked to you myself in quite a long time, so you probably were surprised to hear from me. And so how's everything going with you? Is everything good?
I mean, as far as my son's father seeing his child, he doesn't. He doesn't see him. He doesn't put forth the effort to see him. And it's really something on his part, his failure to communicate and to actually try to be an active part of his son's life. And a lot of that has to do with how he's handled the situation and how he's tried to not be honest about his living situation, being honest with the person that he's dating, and it's just caused a lot of confusion and friction.
Okay. Well, how old is your child?
He will be 4 next month.
He will be 4 next month.
Yes.
Well, and did the father ever have a role in your child's life?
Yes, when he was first born, yes, but it was still, kind of in and out, back and forth, because, I don't think he's mature enough to actually be in a committed relationship with one person. And so it was always an issue with other women and the cheating and just the dishonesty. And he actually, while we were dating, actually had somebody else that was pregnant too.
Oh.
So
How did you deal with that?
We broke up. I just couldn't accept that, you know. I mean, the cheating was one thing, but then to actually have a child with someone, I just couldn't accept it.
And did he inform you that he was having another child, or did you just find out?
I found out on my own, went through his phone. He actually was talking to, I say, at least 40 women in a 2-week period.
Okay. And how at first, did you not know this? Did you not know he was this type of person?
No, you know, like they all say, they send their representative. Okay. You know, when you meet someone, they send a representative and they present themselves as hardworking man, and it's just so hard to find a good woman, and you know, and he gave me all the, oh, we're gonna be a family, and I want us to work, and we're gonna be together forever. You know, he told his family we were gonna get married, and you know, just all the things that you would probably want someone to say to you, that gives you the hope that yes, okay, we're gonna make it, we're gonna work, we're doing things that are actively, you know, working towards marriage and being fully committed and spending the rest of our lives with each other.
Okay. So at first, when the child was born, was he there for the child at that time?
He was there, but then he was also, at that point, since we broke up, he was also dating someone else. And so, you know, it was like a split between him being with his child and then him trying to appease her. And, you know, it was just a lot of back and forth with that.
And how did that affect, if it has at all, your child?
I mean, it's been, I say, probably a year or so that he's seen his child. And that's because of the other person that he's dating. So, you know, it's like, it's always because of his relationships with women that he can't seem to make time for his children.
So what you're saying is he's dating someone else now,
Mm-hmm.
and that has changed his relationship with himself and the child?
Well, yeah, it was a lot of friction at first with when he started dating her. He actually was dating 2 women that lived in the same apartment complex. Mm-hmm. So once he stopped talking to the one female, he started talking to another lady that lived in the same apartment complex. And so once he started talking to her, you know, he still was telling me, oh, you know, no, we're going to be a family, we're going to be together. But yeah, I guess he was telling her the same things. And, you know, he would come to the house and I'm thinking, okay, well, he's putting forth an effort to mend the relationship. And, you know, I wasn't quite willing to forgive him for all, but for the sake of my child, I was willing to say, okay, you know, fine, we'll try to make things work for our son's sake.
Okay.
And that was disastrous. This particular individual came to my house. She wanted to fight, and you know, she made verbal threats. She even went so far to get upset because he bought gifts for his son. And, you know, she was like, well, you're not going to use my car to bring the gifts. And she even made a fake Facebook page trying to communicate with me and find out where I was staying. And it just, you know, with all that going on, I just was like, you know, if that's what you want, if that's the kind of situation you want to be in, you just stay over there and I'm going to stay over here. And that's pretty much where we've been since then.
And so that's where you are now. Have a very, I guess, unfortunate relationship with mm-hmm. the father of your son.
Yes.
So in understanding the importance of the father and son relationship, how does that make you feel that this communication is broken? And you have a son here mm-hmm. that's, even though he's not verbally saying that, you know, I want to be with my dad more, knowing that on the inside that he, wants a relationship with his father. How does that make you feel?
I'm at peace with it because, I've always been at the standpoint of, I don't want my son to think that anything like that is okay. You don't treat women like that. You don't do things like that. And it's hurtful, but at the same time, my son, he's not lacking for positive male figures in his life. I'm very active in my church. We have a wonderful pastor, and we have very strong deacons that work with the youth in my church and are very active in the youth within the youth lives at our church. And he has two godfathers that at the drop of a hat, if I say I need something for him, or he needs something, or just to be with a male figure, he has that. And so it's disappointing that it's not his father, but at the same time, to avoid grief and just confusion, I'm content with the way things are. And I recently, reconnected with someone I used to date when I was younger, and we have a really good relationship. And my son really has got to the point where he calls him dad.
Okay. Well, good. Well, I'm glad that he has a positive person in his life, but there's nobody like daddy. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're going to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk to you about how can we make this situation work. I'm glad to see you making it work, mm-hmm. Every way that you talked about, but we want to see what can we do to make it work better? How can we fix it and make this thing called family work? We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're here with Andrea, and she's telling us her situation with her child and her child's father. And we're talking now about how can we make this work. She has a situation to where there's no communication, not a lack of communication or bad communication. Right now, for a long amount of time, there's no communication. So we want to fix that. We want to talk about how we can fix that, or even if we can. I don't know, but we're going to talk about it. Ms. Andrea, I understand it's been a long time. How long has it been since you've spoken with your child's father?
It's been about a year or so.
And over a year. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't know about whatever he's involved in. Do you have your child involved in any activities?
He was in early Head Start till he, aged out. And so, and when I say no communication, I'm not saying any whatsoever, but as far as him initiating or saying, hey, how's my son? Or how's he doing? There's none of that. Now, occasionally I will send a picture of something he's doing, and then, we might have a back and forth for about 5 minutes, and then that's it. It's not then leads to, hey, when can I see him? Can I spend some time with him? And I've really have been firm with the fact that, as long as he's dating the individual he's dating, and all the confusion and problems that I've had that resulted in criminal charges against her and a restraining order, I was like, do not have my child around her, and I've been animate about that.
And so what's his response to that?
Oh, he says, oh, she's fine. I was like, no, she's not fine. If she went to those extremes, I said, I don't know what you're telling her or what kind of situation you have going on, but I don't want my son in the middle of that, And I've never stopped him from seeing his child. I never said, you can't see him. I just said, do not have my child around this particular individual. And I told him he could date anybody he wanted as long as he didn't date her.
Okay. And is he still dating her?
Yes, and he'll lie about it. And that's another big hurdle that we have, is he lies continuously about everything. He'll lie about where he's staying. He'll lie about who he's talking to, who he's not talking to. And it's not that I want to control the situation, but for this particular individual to go to the extremes that she has, you're upset because he bought toys for his son. You know, you're coming to my house threatening me. You know, you need to be having those conversations with him. You know, I don't know what stories he's telling her or why she's so fixated, you know, and he has other children. So, you know, I even went so far as to ask her, I was like, why, you know, are you so worried about my son? I said, he has other children. I said, why don't you worry about them? Or better yet, why don't you and him have a child together and you worry about that child?
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm understanding is the disconnection is because of the girlfriend. Is that what appears to be causing the problem?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so, have you talked to him about seeing the child, or how do you propose that he would see his child?
He knows where we are. We live about 10 minutes from where he stays. So, you know, it's not lack of being able to get there. You know, we're not far. And like I said, I've never told him that he couldn't, you know, his son. But his biggest thing is, you know, he's still mad because we're not together anymore. But then it's like, you know, on top of that, you know, you telling other females you talk to that, oh, I'm not talking to anybody, because, you know, even though that's the quote unquote girlfriend, you know, I've had other females that have contacted me while he's been with her saying that they're talking to him too. You know, and I said, see, that's what I'm saying. I said, you haven't changed. You know, you still playing games. I was like, you need to grow up. You know, it's time to move all past that. And so it's a lot of dynamics with the situation that it's like, it's more than just lack of communication. It's just his behaviors and things that he's doing. It's just, to me, I don't want my son in that type of environment or situation. And I don't want to have to go back to court. I don't want some other woman, you know, trying to come after me because of something he said, and, you know, he's lying and making it seem like, you know, I run behind him, or, oh, she, you know, she does this, she does that. I even got to the point I was like, you know, let's be adult about the situation. I was like, let's just all sit down and just get on one page. You know, that's who you're gonna be with, fine. You know, I'm over the fact that we're not together, but he didn't want to do that.
Did he say why not?
No, and I just assumed it was because he'd rather continue to lie and, you know, carry on this facade with her and whomever else he's talking to, rather than saying, this is how it is, this is the real situation, and move forward.
So is he attempting to still have a relationship with you and her too? Is that why
he's still asking and wanting us to get back together, but it's just too much for me to forgive and get over. You know, I can't get past, you know, having another child with someone. I can't get past, you know, all the different women, and, you know, and that there's still women that he's telling different stories to. One particular female, she called me, she's from New Orleans, you know, and she was saying that he was going down there seeing her, and I was like, well, I'm sorry you're in this situation. I said, but he currently lives with someone, you know, and I said, I'm not in that situation. I'm thankful. I've distanced myself, you know, I've moved on, and I said, I recommend you do the same. You know.
Wow, you still getting phone calls about.
Right, and that was like maybe a year or so ago when that was going on. So I can imagine that it's probably still other females and other women that, you know, he's talking to and dealing with besides her.
So is it that he's not going to communicate, not going to be a child, well, not going to fully communicate, not going to be an active part of the child's life as long as y'all aren't together? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, that's the impression that he gives me. You know, it's like, well, you know, we have to be together and then he'll be in the son's life. So it's like, well, I guess you're not going to be in your son's life because we're not going to be together. You know, and it's unfortunate that's the attitude that he's taking about it, but I'm not ready, and I don't want to deal with that anymore. You know, I'm too old, and I felt like he was too old. And, you know, when you meet someone and you start dating, you never think about, oh, this is going to be a disaster or this is going to be worse. You think, you know, you're older, you're wiser, you make better choices, and you know, you look for certain things to make sure that certain things don't happen. But even with all that, it still does. You know, there's no guarantees, there's no security, there's no, you know, oh, this will never happen. And, you know, people get in a bad habit of saying this will never happen to me. And it will, and it can.
And the bad part of this is we got cute little BJ getting caught up in all of this.
Yes.
Just trying to grow up, trying to be raised by parents that love him and that want to be an intricate part in his life. And that is where my heart is in this situation, is towards the son, towards you and him too, but ultimately towards the son who didn't particularly ask to be here, although I'm sure he's glad and everybody's glad he is here, but just not having the full support of both parents. I understand he does pay, you know, he pays his support. And has that always worked out? Has he always kept up with paying his support?
No, I actually had to take him to court for him to actually pay child support.
So does he pay it on a regular basis now?
He is now, because you know he's still working the same job, but at the beginning, you know, he even went so far as to quit a job just so he wouldn't have to pay child support.
Oh, I've heard of that before.
Yeah,
he would work for a while, but when the support would come out, he would quit.
He would quit.
Is he still doing that?
No, he's managed to stay at the same job for about 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, that's good.
So, and my friend even made the comment, she was like, you know, don't worry about it. You know, he's eventually going to get to a job that he really likes, and then he's going to stay there, and it'll work itself out.
Okay, that's my first time to hear that. Okay, he'll keep, well, okay, so that's probably what happened.
Yeah. So
he'll keep working until he finds one he likes.
Yes.
Okay.
So.
Never thought of it like that, but.
So I guess he really likes his job. So.
Oh, good. And so now what I would like to see happen is I'm willing to mediate. I'm willing to talk to him. I'm willing to contact him and try to make the relationship work, try to open the communication back and attempt to get him to be an active part of BJ's life. Would you be in agreement with that?
I'm open to it, but I guarantee you're going to get the same results that I have.
Oh, you're going to put a bet on it, huh?
Yes.
You think it won't. All right. Well, I'm going to be positive. I'm going to think that it will work. Okay? If I have your okay, I am committed to attempting to contact him and to start communication on how he can start seeing BJ in a safe environment that you can mutually agree on, and see if we can make it to where everybody's comfortable and BJ have the support, full support, not just financially, but with actual physical time with his father, to see if we can make that work. How about that? Do you think that?
Well, I'm open to it, and like I said, I've never stopped him from seeing his son. I've never said, you know, you can't see your son. I've just always been animate about, please do not have my child.
Well, we thank you for being here today, and your conversation was great, and thank you. And we look forward to seeing you back on Male Matrix, and I will love to share with you what goes on in this situation while we're making positive impacts in children's lives and all of the community. Thank you.